I criticized my wife for being lazy during the pandemic, demanding she be productive like me. It cost us everything, but fate intervened. Plus 2 updates. Prior to the pandemic, my wife, early 30s, also a lawyer, and I, early 30s, also a lawyer, had very busy schedules. These involved long working hours and frequent business travel, with weekends spent largely on family events and cultural activities. Once our respective firms sent us to work from home, we calculated that we would each have an extra 30-plus hours a week in our schedules, even while still working full-time. This was due to not commuting, traveling, or socializing in person. We promised each other we would use that time to be productive in ways our prior schedules did not permit. In the past 6 months, I have kept up my end of the bargain. I have read 25 biographies, developed decent conversational skills in 2 foreign languages, upped my running program to the point that I am marathon ready, and started volunteering about 10 hours a week for voter registration advocacy, all while continuing to work at my full-time job. My wife has done not so much. She has been reading fantasy novels, occasionally watching a History Channel documentary, and has generally used the time to unwind. I have confronted her several times, and she tells me she is rejecting productivity culture, and that she does not feel like improving herself right now. The household basics are covered. We share pretty evenly in housework, cooking, and other practical matters, and she does exercise. But I am getting increasingly frustrated, disgusted even, that she would waste this gift of free time just to read books better suited for children and watch TV. I have asked her to get counseling and a depression evaluation, but she has refused and thinks the way she is conducting herself is fine. Do you have any suggestions other than divorce? Update. Hi, Carolyn. I am the lawyer husband who wrote in some weeks ago about being frustrated that my wife, also a lawyer, was not taking better advantage of the extra time we had gained from not commuting and traveling for work. I felt she was not doing more productive things, such as intellectual reading and more intensive exercise. We did subsequently attend a few sessions with a marriage counselor, which were very helpful. In particular, we identified that a big part of the difference in how we wanted to spend leisure time was a direct result of the specific demands of our paid work. Although we are both lawyers, my work at the moment involves working on routine contracts for the most part that are not particularly intellectually challenging. On the other hand, hers involves clients who are much more emotionally demanding, plus high-stakes pro bono work with life-saving implications. So she ends up feeling drained and wanting to take it easy during non-work time. Ultimately, we also figured out that I am just a person who likes to go on all cylinders all the time, which makes my current work all the more frustrating. Although I am glad to have it at a time when a lot of law firms have been doing layoffs. While she prefers cozy, quiet time in her personal life. After the counseling sessions, we did decide to separate and divorce due to not really having compatible outlooks and priorities. But we are doing so from a much warmer, friendlier place without resentments and blame. At the core, we are just very different people, something that did not really come to light while we were so busy finishing law school and singularly focused on building our careers. The close quarters of the pandemic, however, made it obvious that we would be happier going in different directions. Update. Hi, Carolyn. I am the lawyer husband who wrote in twice in 2020. First, to complain that my wife was not productive enough in connection with personal pursuits during the pandemic. Then, to update you that after a brief stint of marriage counseling, we decided to divorce. As my original question was rerun in the column this past week, I wanted to offer a further update. First of all, wow. I was such a glass bowl back then, and all the critical comments from you and from readers were 100% deserved. As it turns out, fate intervened. Shortly after my wife and I decided to divorce, my parents both contracted COVID and ended up passing away. We had a somewhat strained relationship, but it was still a time of extreme grief and regret. Especially as, due to this being pre-vaccines, I was not able to visit with them as they were declining, nor were we able to have much in the way of memorial services. Despite the way I had treated her, my wife was completely there for me with unconditional support. I asked her to reconsider the divorce. She agreed, but only if I promised to complete a course of individual therapy to figure out why I had been acting so mean and judgmental. We uncovered a lot of issues from my childhood. Notably, my parents equated not being the best with worthlessness. Even more so, they believed that life was something to be suffered through with grim determination, and that enjoying oneself was almost always inappropriate. For example, when I was 12, I woke up one day to find my beloved piano had been sold, because I was having too much fun and treating it like a toy. Similarly, I was forced to switch from soccer to track in high school because I was not good enough at soccer to be a starter, even though I loved being part of the team. This all resulted in my being incredibly critical and also jealous of people who could simply find joy in things, which explains my treatment of my wife. I also had a tendency to pursue activities I did not even like that much, due to a fear that I would otherwise be bad. Intensive therapy helped immensely. Over the course of the next year, I repaired the relationship with my wife, an infinitely kind and forgiving person, and even got my career unstuck by switching to a different practice area that excites and energizes me. I will certainly be making amends for years to come, but actually feel happy and hopeful now. I am just sorry I wasted so many years and caused so much pain in the process.